Good morning, friends. Welcome back to the Say What podcast. My name is Hannah, and on this podcast, we like to talk about things like sex, marriage, relationships, all girly things. We talk about painful sex, purity culture. It's a really good time over here at the podcast, and I am so glad that you're with me hanging out today. I'm coming to you in tired form today. I'm going to be so honest. We were up every hour last night with my sweet baby. He is sick, and so we were just up every hour. He ended up sleeping in the bed with us. He's 19 months old, almost 20 months old, which is crazy. He's almost 2. And he just was sick. And so we are running on no sleep, which just reminded me of how I used to function on the no sleep days. And I truly don't know how I did it. The only way I made it through those days was truly Zoloft. If I'm being so honest, it was Zoloft because, man, I am tired. But it's okay. We're going to push through. We're going to record this podcast. And I'm excited to talk to you today about dress codes because I am, having a moment on the internet as one does when they talk about sex on the internet, and people of course are being mean to me again. And every time this happens, I ask God, what do you want me to do, Lord? I need you to tell me what to do about this. Do I just quit and say this is over, I'm done? Do I, kill them with kindness? Do I respond to the comments? Do I, fight back? Do I sit around and be mad about it? What do you want me to do? Every time this has happened, he's been like, I want you to record a podcast and explain why you feel this way and why I have told you these things and why I've called you to do this. And so here I am recording a podcast talking about dress codes because the Lord has told me to do that because people were just being mean again on the internet and I feel once again misunderstood. I also feel like people on the internet do not understand humor. I'm so sorry that I have a personality. I'm so sorry that I like to exaggerate for effect. So you'll watch my videos. If I got on here and was just super bland, didn't have a care in the world about anything, was just so melancholy, you wouldn't want to follow me. That's boring. I'm not a boring person. I'm not going to talk in boring ways. I'm fun. I'm animated. I'm a big, kind of person. I have a lot of personality. I have sometimes felt like I am too much because of a lot of personality. And people on the internet just don't like that. They're like, how dare you speak in hyperbole? Or they're taking me seriously. They're like, people actually walk around youth camps naked. And I'm like, no, that was a joke. That was sarcasm. That was me just making a big deal about something to get your attention, which is not very modest of me and so I wasn't being very modest because I'm trying to get people's attention. And I did feel a little bit of a gut check about that. I did feel a little convicted. I was like, okay, God, I know I was doing these tactics to get people's attention and that was making it about me. And that's not very modest of me because that is my heart. And so I'm taking that correction. I hear you. However, I have a personality, and how dare a woman have a personality? Truly, I do not relate to, I'm very demure. I am very cutesy, but I am demure, probably could not be me. I had to look that up, to be honest with you. I didn't know what that word meant. Uneducated queen over here. And it was modest, quiet, or what else did it say? Let me look it up again to make sure I'm not reading it incorrectly. When I read it, I was like, it's giving purity culture. Demure is giving purity culture. It says, not me typing the wrong word in. Oh my goodness. Okay. It says demure means reserved, modest, and shy, typically used of a woman. Interesting. Are men ever called demure? Again, it's giving purity culture. A demure knee-length skirt. This sound, demure, was made for purity culture. It truly was. It's giving purity culture. But I am not shy or quiet. I couldn't tell you what those words mean. Truly. Maybe I should work on that. That kind of makes me feel like meek, maybe. That kind of gives me the same vibe. Anyways, that's the backstory of why I'm recording this podcast today. I'm coming in tired. I'm also coming in on my period, and I want to talk to you about my period today because I realize that I don't talk about JOVI enough and how JOVI truly helps me continue on with my day when I'm on my period, because before baby, I didn't have a lot of cramps, but when I did cramp, I used my JOVI and it was super helpful. But I just didn't have a lot of cramps as bad. Post baby, my body's exploding constantly with these cramps and I'm in so much pain all the time. And the JOVI band and their their band and their patch truly saved my life when I'm on my period. It actually works. It's not just gimmicky, and I wouldn't sit here and lie to you. I'm wearing one right now. I'm actually going to take them off so I can show you because they're on my back right now. If you're watching on the YouTube, hello. I use these patches to help like block the pain signals that go to my brain that I'm in pain. So that's how they work. So I have the band here and the patch here, and JOVI has truly just changed my life. Like the way it works is there's a lot of little like nanotechnology things in here that basically the signal to your brain that you are feeling some kind of discomfort, it blocks that. So it's not like curing the problem of like why I have cramps, but it is making it better. And truly praise God for them. And, I don't talk about this enough either, that I have a code that you can use for JOVI. I'm trying to put it back on while I'm recording this because I need it because I'm in pain. It gets you $48 off the band. Like $48. That's insane. I was just like doing like a mock checkout to make sure that was correct. And $48 off of this band is crazy. It makes it $111. And you can't beat that. I mean, one trip to Target is $111. And this is a one-time purchase. And it works. And they have a like money back guarantee program if it doesn't work for you. But there's so much like troubleshooting out there. Like when I just took those off, there wasn't like a big dip, but like putting it back on just makes it feel so much better. And I know that like it truly is helping the discomfort that I'm feeling. Like it's a game changer. I'm obsessed with JOVI. You can literally get $48 off. Like that is actually wild. Like that's a huge, huge discount. It's originally $156. And you can get it for $111 with my code. So you're welcome. Saving your menstrual cramps. I'm here for you. I'm here to do that. I've also been trying a disc instead of a cup. So Pixie Cup sent me their disc to try, and I've been trying it. And so far, I'm just having to kind of figure it out a little bit. So it's a little bit different as far as like inserting, because you insert it down towards your tailbone, and you have to like, because the way it does like catches the angle of it, it like catches the blood, so it has to be angled a certain way. And I have not had any leakage when I've used the large size cup, but when I wipe, there's some leakage. So that's like so detailed. I'm so sorry to share that with you, but I'm here to give you the review. I am like a big sister to you, so your big sister would tell you that. And here I am telling the internet it's fine. So that's where I'm at with this. So I guess that's considered leakage, but it's not in my underwear. So I don't really know, but I'm trying to figure it out. It's going to take some time, but people love the disc. This one is, I know that some people have discs that you like use and throw away, I think, but this is a reusable one. So I'm trying it out. I tried their small one and I definitely had some leakage with that. That just like isn't my right size. And so I'm trying their large one and we'll see how it goes. As far as comfort, I didn't even know it could be more comfortable than the cup. The cup, I don't feel it throughout the day. It feels fine. Kind of as the day goes on, I do start to kind of feel it in there. And I'm like, okay, I probably should dump it. But with this, I have felt nothing whatsoever. Like zero, I cannot feel that it's inside me, which is such a game changer for my life and for your life. It's so great. So if I can figure out the leakage stuff, I'll let you guys know if this is a product that works for me. I hear so many people rave about the discs, so hopefully it works for you too. So those are new things that have been happening in my life. Sickness, periods, all the fun things. Not sleeping, people being mean to me on the internet. One guy commented and was like, shut up. And I was like, no. But I'm not going to complain because this is what I asked the Lord. I asked the Lord constantly to put my videos in front of people's faces that needs to hear it. And I guess the people that need to hear this are the people who are being mean to me. But we just need to back it up. Like we need to back it up. We need to talk about dress codes and we need to talk about modesty. It's important. Somehow we've lost the plot about dress codes and about modesty. Modesty has become mostly about what we wear, and I just don't think that that's true. I do think that your clothes can be a reflection of your relationship with Jesus and can be a reflection of where you're at, but they do not decide if you're being modest or not. I can wear a 2-piece bathing suit to the pool and you're not going to know if I'm being modest or not. It's about your heart and your intention. So when I'm getting dressed in the morning or when I'm filming a video, to put on the internet, what are my intentions with that video? For example, I said my intentions with those couple videos that I filmed that are kind of going off right now I was trying to get people's attention. I was trying to be a little bit like kind of controversial and cutting edge and, had just a different kind of personality. I wanted people to look at that video. I wanted people to stop and look at it. And that is not necessarily me being modest because I'm like, look at me, look at what I'm trying to do. I think there's a better way of having my message come across than that attitude that I had. So in that video, I was not being modest. When I'm wearing a 2-piece bathing suit, you don't know if I'm being modest or not. I might be wearing a 2-piece bathing suit because I feel that bathing suit covers my body better than the one-piece bathing suits that I can find out there. Because a lot of times the one-piece bathing suits show every single little curve and are like coming up my butt and you can see my whole butt. But with a two-piece bathing suit, I can find the size that fits my bottom correctly and like covers it fully, because that's what I'm looking for, versus some one pieces, it might fit me up top, but it doesn't fit me down on the bottom. So it's just easier for me to wear a two-piece because I can get a different size. That way it fits me all over, and I'm just trying to find a bathing suit that I can wear at the pool. You don't know if I'm putting on this bathing suit for people to like look at me or not. But there are times that your clothes are a representation of what your intentions are. I have vivid memories of one time in college, I was like meeting up with an ex-boyfriend, and I knew why we were meeting up, and I wanted him to like look at me and think that I looked hot. I'll just be so honest with you. I was in a not great space mentally. I was very much in like, what boys think about me is my identity phase. I had not grown out of that yet. I had not matured to where I am now. And I put on this certain shirt. I definitely got rid of it. Like, I couldn't even tell you where it's at now, but I can picture what the shirt looked like. I wore this certain shirt because I knew what it made my boobs look like, and I wanted to look good. And that was me absolutely not being modest. Like, my intentions were for him to look at me. That was not being modest, and I was using that like reflecting in my clothes. So there are times where your clothes can reflect if you're being modest or not. I also believe that, like, for me personally, I want to represent Christ everywhere I go, and I like want people to see me and not be like maybe distracted by what I'm wearing. Like, I want people to see me and see me. And so for me, that does usually involve covering up a little bit more. If I'm just like hanging out with my friends, I'll just like throw on some comfy shorts. If I'm going out in public, I'll just kind of throw on some comfy shorts. But I'm not necessarily wearing like super duper short shorts, because for me, like, that's not very comfortable. Like, it doesn't feel comfortable on my body. I feel like I would get unwanted attention if I was wearing that. And so I do dress a little bit more modestly, I guess, if we're using it in that terms. Maybe I should use conservative. I guess I dress a little bit more conservative in that way, because that's just like what's most comfortable for me. And I feel like that most represents my relationship with Christ. And so when I'm talking about dress codes, I'm not saying that we need to throw them out the window and people need to wear whatever they want, because it doesn't matter, because it does matter. Like, how we present ourselves is a reflection of, who we are, of Christ, of our mental state. Like, there's so many days, I just think back to so many times where I would go like somewhere or just spend my day to day at home, not get ready, not shower for a few days. And those were the times where I really was mentally like in the worst state. And I've told you guys, like, I'm trying really hard to get ready every day, and whether that be clothes, hair, makeup, however, like, I want to spend some energy getting ready for the day, because that makes me feel better. Like, I am in a better mental space, and that helps me present that way as well. Like, I want to show up in a presentable way for work. When I have client meetings, like, I'm going to put on a little bit of makeup. I'm going to put my best foot forward, because that is how I want to present myself and show that, like, I'm in a good, headspace. And so, like, I'm not saying that we need to throw clothes out the window, wear whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I do feel like it can be a reflection of where you're at. When I wasn't sleeping and was up every hour, you couldn't catch me putting on makeup if I was not leaving the house. You could see some of my work videos, and I like didn't really put on much makeup because I just was like, I don't care, I'm tired, and this is just where I'm at. And that is not a good reflection, but that's where I was. That's where I was mentally. So I feel like in the right sense, our clothes can be used in a really positive way. They are a reflection of where we are at. And sometimes they are a reflection of if we are having a modest heart, a pure heart with our intentions. Like I said, there's a couple outfits that I had that were definitely did not have pure intentions, did not have modest intentions. There are things that I have done that have nothing to do with clothes, like how I acted in those videos that I was trying to get certain attention. And I don't like regret those. I do agree what I said was crazy. And I also do have personality, and it's fun. I just think I could have maybe gone about it in a different way. And that's just like conviction from the Holy Spirit that I'm going to follow. I'm trying really hard to do that in all areas of my life, is listen to what the Lord is telling me. So with that, I do want to talk about why I think dress codes should be equal. I believe that dress codes are important. I believe that equal dress codes matter. I don't think it's just like, quote, not a big deal, like dress codes doesn't affect anybody. It absolutely affects people. And it also affects the boys. It's not just about the girls. It affects the boys too. And I think this goes farther than just like church youth camps. I think about this a lot with school. Like, I would get so mad in high school when I would see all these boys walking around wearing their chubbies, and girls had to wear our shorts like to our knees. Actually, I think maybe our shorts rule at school was to fingertips, which I think is what it is. You can't really find shorts that are fingertip length. That's really hard. But I just remember being so frustrated at school when the dress codes were not equal, because there would be these boys wearing these super short shorts called chubbies. If you've never heard of them, that's a brand of shorts that I personally liked the style. Like, I'm not hating on that style. I do like when my husband wears shorter shorts. I'll just be honest with you. I think it looks hot on him. I like it. I'm attracted to it. I like the shorter shorts. However, when guys were in high school wearing them and I couldn't wear other stuff, I was like, this is so frustrating. Like, they're showing off so much of their thigh, and that's not a problem. It absolutely is a problem. Or they wear those cut off shirts. You know what I'm talking about, where they would take a t-shirt and cut out the sides of it so you could see in their chest area, or not their chest, you can see the side, you can kind of see through it, like a cut off shirt. They would wear those. And I'm like, I could definitely not wear that. And also, I want to make it clear, I know that boys and girls have different bodies. I know that, it's culturally acceptable for boys to show their chest, and it's culturally unacceptable for girls to show their chest. I understand that my boobs are some of my private parts of my body. I also don't want to show them. You will never catch me at a nudist beach. That sounds like my worst nightmare. I'm not trying to show anyone my boobs, That's just not what I'm trying to do. They're for me to see and for nobody else. And that's just that's my conviction. I don't want anybody to see it. So I'm not saying that I'm not ignoring the fact that boys and girls have different bodies. I know we have different bodies. I know that sometimes the rules, I think, were put in place because of that, because girls and boys have different bodies. But along the way, it has caused us to feel shame about our bodies. It has caused women to be confused about the kind of arousal they may have. And then they're like, okay, but boys can wear this, but am I not supposed to be attracted to them? I am, and that's really hard for me. And so it just had some other consequences, It had some other consequences. I know boys and girls have different bodies, but I believe you can still have the rules be the same across board and let it be that. I just think we can have dress codes be equal, and it helps us all out. So here are a couple reasons why I believe that dress codes should be equal. So let's start with this. This is kind of the one that I talk about all the time. When you ask one gender to cover up and you don't ask the other gender to cover up, it creates shame for the gender that is covered up. So we're just going to say boys and girls, because that's just usually how it goes. If you ask girls to cover up, but you don't ask boys to cover up, and usually it's cover up, you can't have any of your stomach showing at all. It has to go all the way down. You can't have any of your shoulders showing. You have to, the shirt has to cover your full shoulders. I know a lot of times, even if you are wearing a shirt that fits you, you'll be told your shirt is too tight, or so then you have to wear oversized clothes, which I definitely think that my style of liking oversized clothes comes from purity culture, because I'd be so self-conscious about the size of my boobs when it's just these are the size of my boobs. This is what God has given me. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. If I dress in a fitted shirt because it just fits me correctly, it feels like I'm here, look at my boobs. So let me just wear an oversized shirt, and that's just more comfortable because I just don't want anyone to know that I have a body because my body is bad. That is what girls will spiral down when we are told to cover up, but boys aren't told to cover up. It's oh, okay, my shoulders are a temptation, because it's usually always met with, okay, well, we don't want our brothers and sisters to stumble. We don't want them to stumble. And so that's why we cover up. So there is a scripture about that, but it was talking about eating certain foods is what that scripture was talking about. It's yes, you can cover it, to clothes if you want, but scripture also says if you are sinning to pluck your own eye out. It doesn't say if you look at a girl who has her shoulder showing, you should go put a t-shirt over hers because he's stumbling because of her. It says no, if you are looking at something and it's causing you to sin, you should poke your eye out. So we should be teaching that we are all responsible for our own sin. We are all responsible for our own sin. And that's what we need to be teaching. And we don't want our girls to grow up feeling ashamed about their bodies because of this uneven dress code. We want them to know that their body was good and it was created by God for a reason. That in Genesis, it talks about how he created Adam and Eve and they were naked and felt no shame. I go back to that scripture constantly because I really believe it's just the foundation of this podcast. Adam and his wife were naked and they felt no shame. It really is the foundation. because they didn't feel ashamed. They were naked and they didn't feel ashamed. They were walking around totally fine. They're like, this is the body gave me, the body that God gave me, and it's great. And I feel no other way about it other than this is my body, and I'm so thankful that God gave it to me. That's how they were walking around. They weren't walking around saying, oh, I think my boobs are looking a little too big, or, oh, my shoulder's a little too big. Oh, I'm worried that like the shoulder that I have is going to mess with Adam. They started feeling that way once sin entered the world, but that was not God's intention for us. His intention was for us to not walk around feeling shame. If there's like such specific rules of like, okay, you have to wear a shirt that doesn't cover your stomach at all, and you have to wear shorts that go all the way to your knees or go to your fingertips. It's so hard when girls are taller to find fingertip length shorts. Like, truly is. But I am fine if you want to have those dress codes. Like, truly, I think you can make up whatever kind of dress code you want. I'm fine with them as long as it's equal. If you are going to some kind of pool or outdoor experience and you want people to be wearing t-shirts, you just feel like that's an easier solution, you then make the t-shirt rule for everyone. It also protects against like sun damage against bodies. Like, just throwing that out there. It's also, helpful for that too. But if you're wearing the right kind of shirt, because I also think it's hard to say, okay, girls have to be in one pieces and guys can be in swimming trunks, because also one pieces can show off a lot more of your body than shorts can. But also t-shirts, when you're swimming in the pool, like stick to your body. So it's like, what is this really showing? Or what is this really covering up? Because that t-shirt is stuck to my body and showing every inch of my body. So like, what are we really covering up here? I'm kind of confused. Another point to this is if you're asking one gender to cover up, but the other doesn't, which is typically boys do not have to cover up. If a guy is like feeling, not confident about his body, it's also just like helpful for everybody across the board to have the same dress code, because it's like, okay, he won't feel shame if he puts a t-shirt on because everybody's wearing t-shirts, and that might be, you might be telling me I'm coddling their feelings, whatever, but I am just like thinking about that. Like the boys who also like could feel ashamed about what their body looks like, it's helpful if there's a t-shirt. But I'm also on team like nobody wears t-shirts. We should just like wear a bathing suit. And I think you can even say to both genders, like, if you're trying to write it out, wear a bathing suit that covers up your body. Like, I think it's just fair to say that. Like, I think it's fair to say for that you want them to wear swim trunks that covers up some of their body. I think it's fair to say that you want them to wear a bathing suit that, covers up their body. Like, I don't think that's necessarily bad to say. Like, if you're wanting a dress code, that's fine. Dress codes can also be helpful as we're trying to like figure out the vibe of a place you're going to, whatever. I don't think they're inherently bad. I do think at schools, it would just be easier if we could be in uniforms. I saw Claire Edwards talk about this on TikTok. I know her from Denver, like very briefly, but I just love her. And she was saying that like her hot take is that we should all have uniforms, because she thinks about the kids who, don't have access to like good, clean clothes, and so dress code just like makes that easier. And I'm like, that's so true. That's so true. But also just makes for the parents, it's easier in the morning. Like, what you're wearing, there's no fight against it. It helps fight against like overconsumption of clothes, which is also fantastic. Love we're doing that. It also just make things easier. I'm like, bring school uniforms back. I probably would have hated that, because I do believe that like getting dressed is a way to like express your personality. And so that would not have been, because remember what I said earlier, that clothes are a representation of like who you are, and a reflection of who you are. And I'm wearing a 1989 sweatshirt because I love Taylor Swift. And I will admit to you that I am clowning about Reputation. I usually don't clown about this because I'm like, she's not going to drop Reputation. Like, we just had TTPD. Like, why would she drop Reputation? But all the theories made sense today. So when I'm finished recording this podcast, I could just go put my little clown makeup on, because I am wrong and we aren't getting Rep. But maybe we're getting it and it's great. And I can't wait. I think Reputation is my number 2 album. And I also saw Reputation Stadium Tour. And I do have a hot take that I liked the Reputation Stadium Tour opener better than Eras Tour opener. Don't hate me. Don't cancel me, Swifties. It's just my honest opinion. Okay, another reason I think equal dress codes are important is because when you don't have equal dress codes and you're asking the boys telling the boys they don't have to cover up when the girls are covering up, that implies that girls do not experience any kind of sexual attraction or arousal when they look at a guy. It's like, okay, well, girls don't have any kind of sexual feelings, so they're not gonna look at them. And it also inherently says that boys objectify women, because if you're saying that girls have to be covered up, it's like, it's because the boys are looking at you, and that's not okay. They're objectifying you. That's what that implies. And we don't want to imply that. We don't want to just set our boys up for failure and be like, oh, well, you're going to look at her and objectify her. It's like, no, let's teach him that he's not going to objectify her. Let's teach him that he's going to see her the way that God sees her, that she is fearfully and wonderfully made, that she is made in his image, that she can do all things through Christ who gives her strength, that she is a child of God. That's what we should be telling our people. Not just our boys, we should be telling our girls that too. When girls are looking at the boys with their shirts off and their super short shorts, they should be telling the girls that too, that we do not objectify. We do not objectify God's children. In no way, shape, or form do we do that. We do not look at them and say, I want to look at you because it brings me pleasure. That's not okay. And unequal dress codes implies that that's what's happening. And we should be teaching against that. You know, as you're a teenager, you're also like learning all this stuff. You're trying to figure it out. You know, your hormones are all over the place. You're trying to like, decipher what is normal, what's good, like and what's making me bad. I was always trying to figure out if I was lusting or not. I was so concerned about that. It is perfectly normal for girls to look at another guy and be attracted to that. And when we're saying that like that is not happening, that just creates shame for girls who are experiencing any kind of like sexual arousal or liking guys or thinking that's wrong. Like that'll make them feel ashamed. They're like, okay, I'm not supposed to do that. Like, they're not asked to cover up. So is that like something wrong with me if I'm looking at them? And we're just also not having the conversations about objectification. We're just saying like, oh, well, we don't want to make our brother or sister stumble. Like we're not talking about how we don't need to be objectifying each other and using each other's bodies for pleasure. Like those conversations aren't being had. I don't know that I was ever told anything about objectification. Maybe I was, but I definitely don't remember it. So we just need to be having those kind of conversations when we're talking about dress codes and when we're talking about teenagers. And we need to be talking about what I said earlier about how our clothes can be a reflection of our heart and like what we want others to see. But also it's more than that. Modesty is about so much more than our clothes. I saw a clip come across the internet the other day and I've not watched the full video, so I don't want to talk about it, but talk like, super detailed about it, but it was a pastor who was saying like, if you leave the church and you see the physical like devil in front of you, buck up. Like I'm going to tell you to run and attack him and like fight the devil. But if you see a young girl in a super short shirt, run for the hills. And it was just like, I can't believe, number one, that you would speak about a girl that way, like that you as a pastor would speak about a daughter of Christ that way. Nothing about that is okay, that you would speak about a daughter of Christ that way, even if it was a joke. Like I didn't watch the whole clip, so that's why I was like, I don't really fully want to speak on this because I didn't watch the whole message. But even if it was a joke, it's not okay to talk about a girl who is a daughter of Christ that way. That's why I was so frustrated when the Modest is Hottest song came out and he was talking about Kim Kardashian and he was talking about who else was he talking? Cardi B. I was like, why would you talk about somebody that God created like that? Like, why would you speak publicly about someone that God created like that? Why are you speaking so negative about them? That's not okay. So number one, that's like really not okay in that aspect. But it's also like, okay, you're saying that you have to run away because you can't fight against that temptation. And also, why are you looking at a young girl in a short skirt? Like, also, why are you looking at that? Why can't you just look at a girl in a short skirt and not even think about anything? Like, why can't you just look at her and be like, oh, she's a person who loves God, and then move on with your day? Like, just have some questions about that. But anyways, I bring that up because him making that comment was him talking about like objectifying her. Like the person in the car would objectify this girl and that's not okay. So he needs to like run away. It's also like, why can't you fight that temptation? Why can't you pluck the sin out of your own eye? Like, why are you saying that you need to like run away from her? Yes, we need to flee from temptation, but you're saying that if the devil is in front of you, you'd attack that temptation. Like you would fight against it, but you just need to flee and run away from this little girl. And it's like, why are we looking at her to begin with? Like, what are we saying? Anyways, that was just so frustrating when I saw that and just like truly heartbreaking. And even if it was a joke, it definitely wasn't funny. Also, I'm taking like a hard right turn because that was your conversation on dress codes and equal dress codes and why I think they're important. I wanted to quickly say, because in the description of this episode, I'm going to have a link to my Ana Luisa website. So you can go to analuisa.com and use my link and get up to 30% off their jewelry. I just did a collab with them for my last YouTube video and it has been a dream come true to work with Ana Luisa. I've dreamt about this forever. I've emailed them for since I started doing this, I've been emailing them trying to get them to work with me. And so the fact that it's happened is unreal. Like I have this beautiful ring on right now. I mean, all of my jewelry is Ana Luisa. My earrings are, my rings are, like I just love it. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the link in the description of this video and you can get up to 30% off. Thank you, Ana Luisa. You're the best. And I did not have to do that, but I just wanted to talk about that because I love them so much. Okay, there's your conversation on dress codes. Would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to know what you think. I'm sure there's other reasons like why equal dress codes are important, but would love to know your thoughts on this as well. I love you guys so much and hope you have the best day ever. Talk soon. Bye.